This is the new Nissan GTR track pack. It costs £84,450. That's £10,000 more than the standard GTR, and it will only be available in the UK and Japan.
It doesn't take long to list the modifications over the standard GTR because, well, there aren't many differences. It gets the raised alloys first seen on the V-Spec car, which save a total of 10 kilograms. The suspension is stiffer, as are the dampers, but we don't know by how much. There are no rear seats. The fronts have what Mizuno-san calls magic cloth and the rest of us just call, well, sticky fabric. There are front and rear cooling ducts for the brakes, which reduce temperatures by up to a claimed 100 degrees Celsius. Now look, I don't want to come across like I'm being an ungrateful sod, but when I saw the words track pack, I was thinking, well, half cage, big brakes, sticky tyres, bucket seats, because that's what you need on a circuit. But the track pack offers none of those. Is this a marketing exercise, or is it really the answer to all the GTR track addicts' dreams?
But there's another side to this too. When Nissan launched the GTR in the UK, it was under £50,000, and now it's heading right towards 997 turbo territory. Now I know you guys from the comments pages are getting a bit fed up with me doing GT3 videos, so I'm going to match it against a Turbo S this time. A lot more expensive, £129,000, and not specifically designed for a circuit. But you know what? It's got a turbocharged engine, it's got a paddle shift gearbox, it's got four-wheel drive. It's actually on paper a much closer rival to the GTR than a GT3. I know it's not designed to go on a track, but it's a Porsche turbo, so it's going to be a bit handy, isn't it? So the 911 Turbo S, would you believe it, 530 horsepower and 516 foot-pounds of torque. Not an obvious track car, and probably not an obvious rival to the GTR track pack, but you know what? I've got a bit of a soft spot for these Turbo S's. They are quite handy. So let's try and think about this car driven as you would on an evening track day, and that's the way you're going to use this car, isn't it? It's got the bucket seats, off we go. So I've got the gearbox in Sport Plus, so I get a snappy gear shift. It's still a little dulled compared to the GTRs though. I love the fact that it's so crisp in the GTR. You pull the paddle, you really feel like stuff's happening. It doesn't so much in this thing. Okay, what have we got here? It's still slightly slippery here at Brands Hatch. I've got a little bit of front end push. I get on the gas, and that back axle wants to follow me around a bit. Good lord, it feels fast. Coming down the main straight, it's 131 miles an hour. I don't think I've ever done that down the main straight in a racing car here. Extraordinary, braking hard, paddock hill, what a corner. Cambers and dips. You know what, this car feels really nicely balanced, and because it's a slightly damp day, its Bridgestone RE050s they're rather nice. And because it's a rather damp day, its Bridgestones are feeling quite nice and grippy. They're clawing about. This is a neutral car. A little bit of body roll. I've got the dampers in normal mode. I like this. I really like this. It's a nicely balanced car. Hang the throttle. Doesn't want to rotate itself. And it's just got so much performance. But do you know what? I'm almost completely unaware of what's going on in the engine bay. There's just this vague noise and then I'm away. It's not a great communicator, but my lord is it impressive and fast. Steering's not alive the way it is in a GT3, but I'm really impressed by this. You could honestly do a few track days in one of these and not feel in any way that you were missing out. I think if you carried on pounding round for too long, things might get hot. It's nearly 1,600 kilograms, but it's got ceramics, this car. Turbo S is ceramics standard, don't forget. Mighty fast. Watch this performance. Tail wants to wag now and again, but I'm being a good boy. I'm trying not to drive like a yobbo, so I'm carving the straight line, alright? Let that be known by people that complain about me drifting the whole time. Go and let it cool down a bit and have a think. It's a mighty impressive car. Mighty impressive. The track pack does feel more like a track car because it's a bit sparser inside, but it doesn't feel like a GT3 or anything like that to me. It still feels quite normal. Again, slightly greasy Brands Hatch. This is my evening track day, British springtime. What else do you expect? Again, I'm going to try and behave and not pull massive skids everywhere because that's immature and not the way people behave in cars like this. Also, I'm to believe on the comments pages on YouTube Drive. So here we go, behaving sensibly. So I'm going to put my transmission into race and I'm going to have the stability in race and not turn it off completely. This stops me doing skids everywhere. First of all, car feels bigger, physically bigger. Steering's wonderfully sharp though, it just changes direction. Ooh, and I tell you what, immediately I'm getting a feeling that the back axle wants to move around on me. But it's got a lot of mechanical grip. What you have to do is get the car into the corner, get on the gas and let the clever diffs kind of sort it out for you. But you know, it's quite leery. You can see I'm having to make some steering corrections where I just wasn't in the Porsche. Putting it on the main straight. 127 before I feel I have to brake. Turning into Paddock Hill. I love this corner. Look at it just cascade away from me. Ooh, car feels big. Yellow lights on the dashboard, oversteer in the middle there. Again, through Druids, there's a bit of a dry line appearing. Once the rubber gets up to temperature, these are the same tyres as you get on the standard GTR. But every time I try and get on the gas, I'm getting oversteer where I wasn't in the Porsche. It's a bit more of a handful than the 911 round here. What I have to ask myself now is, would a standard GTR feel much different? Well, this car's got some geometry changes on it. Apparently on the track pack you can either have the cambers and toes set for road or track. This one's been set for track. And I suspect that when you get it really dialed in, it is quicker. But like anything, a faster racing car is a more nervous racing car, isn't it? So there's a bit of nerviness about this one. Seat, well, yeah, it's got this sort of magic cloth stuff on it, but I have to say, it's still not a proper bucket seat, and I'm falling out of it a bit more than I am the Porsche. And where's the harness belts? I always thought you should have harness belts in a track pack. Maybe this car's challenging the conventions of what a track car should be. Brakes are pretty good. It's interesting, these new brake ducts in the front and for the rear brakes as well are hidden underneath. It's supposed to give you 100 degrees C less when you're braking, but I can't vouch for that, but I can tell you that I'm not getting too much brake fade. This is a short circuit, it's heavy on brakes, it's drying out the whole time. It's a pretty mighty thing, you know, it's a pretty mighty thing. My problem is this. It just reminds me how bloody good the standard GTR is. It just reminds me how good the standard GTR is.
Typically, now I've said that the Porsche was easier to drive, the GTR goes and sets the faster lap time. Always the case. But these were done in traffic, in drying conditions, so they're not worth taking too seriously. But there's a time anyway. What you need to know is that both cars are silly fast. If this was the only GTR, I'd say it was astounding. But it's hard to make sense of the track pack. It's certainly sharper around a circuit, that's not in any doubt. But if you took a standard GTR and added £10,000 worth of modifications, that car would be even faster, and I suspect even better. That's the problem with small volume specials. They're often undone by the brilliance of the car on which they're based. You see, I'd still have a standard GTR. But if I had the money and I was looking for a fast road car that would handle the occasional track session, I wouldn't have either of these two. The Turbo S is pant-wettingly fast on road and track, but I'd take a plain 997 Turbo with folding bucket seats and a manual gearbox, proving that it's a funny old world.